This is TWiT.
Not a lot of people picked this up. A lot of people picked up the fact that we just showed this thing called Xbox Series X, and we kind of surprised a lot of people at the Game Awards, and that was really fun. And there's a lot of fun memes on Twitter and online about the Xbox Series X, which we like. What a lot of people didn't necessarily pick up, not from that announcement, but from an announcement we made a little bit earlier, is that we're bringing Project xCloud, which is our game streaming capabilities. We're bringing it to Game Pass. Xbox Game Pass. And we haven't yet shared the details of exactly like which SKUs and how that'll all work yet. But I think this notion that people are still incredibly excited about a console, and we are too, obviously, otherwise we wouldn't be building one. But we're also using Azure and putting these consoles into our Azure data centers and delivering, games to basically any device that we can get to work. And we're working hard on Android and, of course, iOS and Windows and, you name it, Mac. We want you to be able to play these games streamed from our Azure data centers to whatever device you want. And I think that notion of embracing devices that gamers love to play on makes total sense logically. But if you backtrack, 10 years, so much of the gaming world was about exclusive content built for just your console. And now here we are 10 years later saying we love the console, we love Windows 10 gaming machines, but we also recognize the two biggest games in the world, Fortnite and Minecraft, are played on so many different platforms that we want to evolve our business to be a business where you can stream games to whatever device you like. And of course, we hope you choose our devices. We think lots of people still will. But I think embracing those endpoints, the endpoints being devices that have nothing to do with Microsoft, whether they're iPads or Android devices or what have you, it's a massive shift. And I think someone who knew Microsoft 10 years ago, if they didn't see us over the past 10 years and just came back and took a look at us now, that's one they'd say, wow, that's a shocking change. And so I love the fact that we couldn't do it without Azure, because now you're seeing a gaming business that lots of people think about as totally independent of Microsoft, and yet the future of it is unbelievably dependent on our Azure infrastructure. And then I love, of course, that it's embracing all these other devices that people are playing games on. It's no surprise that people play games. The most time spent on just about any device someone uses is gameplay. And so that's kind of the first one. This sort of xCloud comes to Azure, comes to Game Pass.
Can I ask you a question about that?
Yeah, sure.
Because in some ways that was kind of news to me. So there's a very direct relationship between Xbox One and that series, the Xbox series of consoles, I guess, and Project xCloud. And again, and without getting like deep into the weeds, and I'm not trying to bypass any, you've said certain Microsoft has said certain things publicly and has not said others or whatever, but. Yeah. Is it fair to say that from sort of a licensing or game availability perspective that in this sense, xCloud is viewed as part of this family, even though it's not really a console, but it is essentially a part of the family of consoles, that as a subscriber, you can get access to your games in the same way that you would, as a buyer of a new console, get access to your games that you had already purchased. That's essentially.
Yeah. I mean, I think if you mean with a Game Pass subscription, you have access to hundreds of games that you can play today on your Xbox console and on your Windows 10 PC, assuming that the game plays on both, and many of them do. But in the future, through that subscription, you'll be able to stream those games to all the devices that we can possibly support. And we've already talked about support for Android and working on support for other devices as well. So in that sense, you're subscribing to a huge catalog of games, and then you can stream those games to many, many more devices than, to really whatever device you like to play on. The team internally, at least, often says, we want to let you play the games you love with the people you love on the devices you love. And that's a long-term sort of aspiration. But that's absolutely the goal.
Again, you can just cut this off if this is something Microsoft just hasn't discussed. I'm just trying to digest part of this. But, today there are purchases you can can make on Xbox games, that is. And then there are subscription services like Game Pass that give you access to certain games. And so today, xCloud is obviously in preview. It's only on Android. It's fairly limited, but there are 50+ games. Exactly. It's set up like a subscription service. And you're saying that there will essentially be a Game Pass that works on xCloud. Is there going to be an ownership component to xCloud as well? I as an Xbox guy from way back, have whatever catalog of games I've bought digitally. Do those come forward? And if this is something Microsoft has never discussed, then that's fine. I'm not trying to get the. I'm just curious about that aspect of it.
Yeah, I think the way we think about it is more, hey, we have this Game Pass subscription, and as part of that subscription, you get access to games. You also get a discount on any game that you want to buy that's part of that catalog. And so I think what we're telegraphing is that you should think of the streaming technology that is xCloud as literally coming to the Game Pass subscription service. Now, what the pricing will be, what the, how we'll do which SKUs, that's all to be determined and to be announced. But I kind of think of it as, Game Pass is the subscription that allows you to own games too, if you want to own the game outright. And then we want to bring streaming to that subscription. And that's the mental model I think you should have in your mind.
Okay.
Does that help at all?
Yeah.
Still, it isn't as definitive as you want.
Right.
It isn't as definitive.
The brand, the pricing. There's so many things that haven't been announced yet. I know it's early days. I'm not trying to pry. But as you were saying that, it occurred to me that this isn't going in a slightly different direction than I thought it was. So it's kind of interesting.
And I think we sort of teased that at what we call XO 19, that big event we did in London, where I think it was Kareem on our team announced that, hey, we're going to be bringing xCloud to Game Pass. And I thought people didn't get it yet, and maybe it's because we haven't shared enough details, et cetera, et cetera. But I thought that was quite telling, and it's kind of a big deal. So that's kind of my first.
You even kind of hinted to us this on last year's show. Remember, I said to you, "Oh yeah, you're going to have an E3 and an E5 plan," and you're like, "You're not as wrong as it sounds."
True. That's right. So we'll see how all the packaging works out. But I don't. I think the team that's doing the xCloud work isn't necessarily thinking of it as, oh, this is another technology thing. It's another way to deliver technology.
It's another way to get to your games, basically.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I think that's.
I like the E3, E5 thing though. That's you should consider that, Brandon.
That was a Mary Jo special. That was a Mary Jo special for sure.